Welcome to the NBAV podcast. Welcome back to NBAV, the NBA Avenue podcast, where the playoffs continue and we will get a couple of good games tonight, starting with the Bucks versus Pacers. Indiana leads the series 3-2. Milwaukee has injuries upon injuries. If you look at their injury report, Giannis is out. That's pretty definitive. It seems like he's trying to get ready to play, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen in time for tonight's game. Damian Lillard is day-to-day. He's questionable for the game. And then Patrick Beverley as well is day-to-day. Chris Middleton with an ankle is also day-to-day, but he's going to play in the game. But for a Pacers team who's very inconsistent, they were inconsistent for almost the entire year after their fast start. Once that fast start got past the play-in, they drastically deteriorated. And even after they got Pascal Siakam onto the team, they never maintained any semblance of consistency. So for a team that's highly inconsistent, but also for a team that wins some games against good teams, they've just been up and down. They've been hard to predict. But they already had a couple of games that they lost to Milwaukee, so they're probably going to bounce back and win this one. Yes, they don't play great every night. They're not a great team. We're talking about Indiana, the Pacers right now. But they're going to win this one. They're going to win one of these games. They're not going to lose this game and also lose the next game and also have lost the previous game. They're not going to lose 3 in a row. Most likely, they're going to take the game tonight at home. Very good opportunity for them to beat an injured Bucks team. They know what they're facing. Most likely, they know they're probably not going to be facing off against Giannis. They've already played the Bucks when they've had Damian Lillard. They've played the Bucks when they've been without Damian Lillard. So either way, they should be prepared for both iterations. And we should see the Indiana Pacers be able to put away the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. That game is at 6:30 Eastern, so we should see them put an end to the Milwaukee Bucks season. And then you're going to have the series that's probably the most interesting one in the Eastern Conference, which is the Knicks, going against the 76ers. And I see the Knicks finishing this up tonight on the road. This was a series that started off where the Knicks won both games at home, and then Philly won Game 3. Then the Knicks went back and they won Game 4 in Philly on the road. And then Philly went and won on the road in New York. So they say a series doesn't start until the home team loses. And there's been a couple of games where the home team has lost. The road team won the last 2 games. So is it in the realm of possibility that the Knicks are going to win on the road tonight? Yeah, I would even call it probable because for the first several games, and the way we saw the series going was we saw the Sixers being able to have a lead for 2.5 quarters, start to slow down at the end of the third quarter, and then the Knicks take over in the fourth quarter. And that's what it's been in a lot of these games, with Embiid wearing out. And the Knicks' team defensive pressure start to sharpen up and wear on you as the game goes on, and then you take over in the fourth quarter. Compounded by the fact that Embiid is injured, this is exactly how we saw it going, minus the losing of the 6-point lead in the final 29 seconds with a heroic 4-point play, a bad defensive decision by Mitchell Robinson, followed up by a couple of absolutely insane 3-pointers from Maxey, including the 4-point play and the 35-foot 3 after that to send the game into overtime, and then ultimately the Sixers winning the game in overtime. But the Knicks wearing out Embiid getting less and less rest in between each of the games. The beginning games, the early games of the series had 2 nights between each game. Now they're down to just 1. Now it's Game 6. Embiid already started to look like a significantly worse version of himself in Game 5. And in Game 6, I think it's going to be even worse. Maxey just went off the charts. He's going to have to do that again, and then he's going to have to do that again in Game 7. I don't see that happening 3 games in a row. I see the Knicks winning one of these next 2 games, but I actually think the Knicks can get it done tonight and put an end to the series, move past Philly once and for all. But what we had happen last night was we saw Boston, the inevitability of Boston. The Boston won 4-1. There was only one game that they lost. It was a game where Miami hit 23 threes in the game and played very good defense. They won one game, but this is exactly what the Celtics have been the entire season. They've won 80% of their games. What happened here? They won the series 4-1. 80%. They won 4 games. They lost 1 game. There you go. That's exactly who they've been the entire year. You're allowed to lose 1 out of every 5 games. In fact, if you lose 1 out of every 5 games, you'll be one of the top teams. Perhaps one of the top teams ever record-wise. Definitely, you're going to be near the top. And if that they just kept it going into the playoffs, it's exactly the same. Yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking when they lost Game 2, just because the series was 1-1, and you think, hey, if they lose 1 more game, they're suddenly behind in the series. And also, it was Miami. And Miami and the Celtics have had some recent history going back to last year. But ultimately, Miami, a very weak team at this point. Yeah, they have Bam Adebayo. They didn't even have Jaime Jaquez in the last game. So they were missing Jaquez. They were missing Rozier. They're missing Jimmy Butler. You're not going to win the series on the back purely on the back of Tyler Hero and Nikola Jovic. It's just not going to happen. Caleb Martin is good when there are other players on the court who can take the brunt of it, and then he can supplement and have big games here and there. But a lot of what the great role players on Miami do is based off of having the number 1 player. It's based off of having Jimmy Butler out there, and they made a move to try to get Rozier, but ultimately it didn't work out. Jimmy Butler is not God. He's not able to magically make sure that he's ready for every game. There were points last year where it looked like he was otherworldly, and he was able to just get it going whenever he needed to. There was something he could tap into, but he's human. He's not perfect, and he's injured, and Terry Rozier is injured as well, and Jaime Jaquez was injured as well. There's only so many injuries you can overcome, and it's possible if they had everybody, they still would have lost 4-1. Maybe they would have got another win, maybe they would have lost 4-2, but Boston is a juggernaut. Boston can win the finals without Kristaps Porzingis. That's definitely a possibility. Granted, would they prefer to have Porzingis? Sure, but they have so much depth. They have a guy, Xavier Tillman, who played big minutes on Memphis Grizzlies playoff teams, and he hasn't even hit the court. He hasn't been playing. And that's Boston. Tillman in this last game, which was a blowout, he only played 7 minutes. He scored 2 points. It's incredible that the Celtics have such a deep team that they don't even need to play this guy. Between Tatum Brown, Holiday White, Pritchard, Hauser, Cornette, Horford. And then they have Mikhailuk and they have Xavier Tillman coming off the bench. This is without Porzingis. If they had Porzingis, it gets even worse. They're a juggernaut team. They win 80% of their ball games all year, and in the playoffs it continued exactly. Not only that, but Boston has the easiest road to the finals of any team. They got to play an absolutely decimated by injury Miami Heat team. And if they go and they finished it up 4-1, and the teams remaining in the Eastern Conference is going to be the winner of the Cavaliers Magic series, and it's going to be the winner of the Pacers Bucks series, most likely Indiana. None of those teams are great. And the 2 best teams in the Eastern Conference, like we said on yesterday's episode, out after Boston, it's the New York Knicks against the 76ers. And they're at war with each other. They're bludgeoning them. They're bludgeoning each other's rosters to death. The Knicks already don't have Julius Randle. Now they lost Bogdanovich. Mitchell Robinson is severely depleted. He missed a game in the series already. In the last game, went to overtime. They had to play more minutes. If Philly wins, they have Embiid, who's basically down 1.5 legs at this point. He's dragging that massive body up and down the court. Maxey is stuck carrying the load. Nobody else on Philly really does much. For New York, you're having to play Josh Hart, OG Anunoby 50 minutes in a game. The Knicks played 7 guys in their last game, basically. Maybe they should have played Precious Achiuwa a little bit more. This just shows how deep the Knicks are. The Knicks have a pretty deep team, too. They haven't even played Alec Burks in the series, but they may have to at some point. With Bogdanovich out, they may have to play him. They're lucky that Deuce McBride has been so good, but Dante DiVincenzo hasn't given them very much in the series so far. Outside of the incredible 3-point shot that it took to steal Game 2. And then the Sixers came back and stole Game 6, and it's at 3-2. But either way, the point is that the Knicks and the Sixers are wearing on each other. Who does that benefit? It benefits the Celtics, because by the time the Knicks or Sixers make it all the way to a conference finals against Boston, Boston's going to have beaten the Miami Heat and then another lesser team in the East, a playoff team, but a lesser team. And then they'll get to face off against a Knicks team or a Sixers team who are going to be so severely depleted and so run down by that point, Boston's going to have an even better chance. Boston's getting stronger. The Knicks and the Sixers are getting weaker. What an open road Boston has, at least to the finals. Winning the finals will be another story. Maybe they'll play Denver. Maybe they'll play the streaking Minnesota Timberwolves. That would be a pretty cool surprise. Maybe they'll play Oklahoma City. Who knows? It's probably less likely, but hey, the Thunder are on a pretty good streak right now, winning their last 4 in the sweep, winning their last several regular season games. It's been a while since they've notched an L on the record right now. Maybe they'll face off against Dallas in the finals. Who knows? We're going to have to take time and see. And the other game that we had last night was Dallas. Dallas finally snapped out of their funk, and they had a real Dallas game. And just to show you the power of depth, Dallas's depth is unreal. They've found something where they're playing Derrick Jones Jr. more minutes, and Jones Jr. is showing you why he deserves to play more minutes. He's been hitting the 3. He's been playing good D. He played 30 minutes. P.J. Washington, 30 minutes. He only scored 2 points, but it doesn't really matter. You have Daniel Gafford playing 19 minutes in this past game. You have Derek Lively playing 25 minutes. That's 55 minutes between those two guys. 20 points between the two of them. And then you have a guy like Maxi Kleber come off the bench, who you wouldn't even expect to be in the playoff rotation. No, they really like Maxi Kleber because he hits threes, and he's long, and he defends, and he's committed. He put up 15 points in the game. And you don't know who it's going to be. Maybe Dante Exum will have a big game next game. Maybe it'll be Josh Green. Maybe it'll be Jaden Hardy coming off the bench. He put up 14 in the game. You have Dwight Powell as a backup. He's the 4th or 5th big man option on this team. Maybe 6th. Then you have Kyrie making ridiculous shots. And of course, you have the steady 30-point plus presence of Luka Doncic. The man is a walking bucket. Even if he injured both of his legs and he was crawling around on his knees, he'd be able to throw in a couple of shots. The guy is unbelievable. Frankly, I didn't think that this series would be as much of a series as it is. Because when the Mavericks are committed on defense and they're playing well and the defense turns into offense and it turns into the outlet passes, as Charles Barkley said on TNT yesterday, he said that there is nobody who's better at those long outlet passes that he's seen better other than Wes Unseld, Kevin Love, and Luka Doncic. And Nikola Jokic is up there as well, but these guys are just unbelievable. And if Dallas plays their A game, the Clippers can't match it. Even if Kawhi Leonard was out there, if Dallas plays their A game is a tier above anything the Clippers can put out there. So the Clippers the Mavericks haven't played their best basketball for the course of the series yet, but they're starting to. And now they're going home with a chance to close it out, and they probably will, whether Kawhi plays or not. Because you can't expect to consistently go out there if you're the Los Angeles Clippers and play the iso ball type of game when you're playing against a team that plays like a team. So altogether, let's see if we can pull up what matchups are going to be happening in the NBA. You have the NBA playoff bracket. In the NBA playoff bracket, you have the Thunder waiting to see who they're going to play. Most likely it'll be the Thunder playing against Dallas. It'll be an interesting series where I would probably give Dallas the edge. I would definitely give Dallas the edge, but the Thunder are super live. They're super alive. They believe in themselves. They haven't lost a game yet in the playoffs. And then the Timberwolves against the Nuggets will be super interesting as well. That's going to be... These 4 series have potential to be absolutely incredible. At least the two in the Western Conference are going to be incredible. The Knicks, if the Knicks can win against the Sixers in Game 6, and Cleveland can finish it up against the Magic, you'll get the Celtics against Cleveland. You'll get the Knicks against perhaps the Pacers. Those will be an all right series, but it's really going to be a show in the Western Conference. The Eastern Conference is building, hopefully, to a Knicks-Celtics matchup where we're going to see if the Knicks can play their rugged defense and try to go toe-to-toe with the Celtics. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a series that Jalen Brunson is going to have to play out of his mind in if it actually makes it there. But the real show is in the Western Conference, where Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is looking to show that he can go toe-to-toe with Luka Doncic over the course of a 7-game series. Jalen Williams, J-Dub. You're going to get a little taste of Chet Holmgren in a real matchup. The Thunder are getting to play the weakest team in the West, the Pelicans, without Zion Williamson. That wasn't a real test. They're going to get it in the next round. They're going to get it if they play Dallas. They're going to get a real test. And the Timberwolves, they played a team that wasn't committed on the defensive end in Phoenix. They played a team that looked like it hadn't adjusted defensively all year. They gave up 82 points in the first half in a game against Milwaukee earlier on, maybe about a month ago. And they continued that trend all through these playoffs. They played a zone in one game, and it looked like they never played that zone the entire year, and it was their first time, and it was roulette. It was the revolving door straight to the basket. Dunks and layups, left and right, every single time. That's not going to be the case against Denver. Denver's going to play defense. Denver knows what they're doing. They won the championship last year. They won the first round series now against the Lakers. The Lakers were game. They played a real tough one in Game 5. They still came up short. Denver winning it 4-1. They're going to be committed. Jokic is ready to defend. Murray's ready to defend. KCP, Aaron Gordon. Their athletic players coming off the bench in Watson and Brown. They're going to be ready to play on defense. So will the Timberwolves. You think, what is Jaden McDaniels going to be able to really defend Jamal Murray? You see, the problem with trying to defend Jamal Murray is the difficulty of shot that he's able to hit consistently is on another level. And Jamal Murray has time now to get a little bit healthier before Saturday's game. He had yesterday, he's got today, which is Thursday, he's got Friday, and then he's got Saturday. And even when he's hurt, it doesn't seem like his play really drops. You have Michael Porter Jr. playing the best basketball he's ever played. And then on the Minnesota side, can Jalen McDaniels really take Jamal Murray out of the game? Anthony Edwards, is he going to be defending Murray? Murray's going to get his buckets. He's proven it on this stage. Anthony Edwards has only proven it against Phoenix, a team that doesn't really play defense, a team where he clearly had a one-up advantage on Kevin Durant. Now, I think Anthony Edwards is going to play well. And the added influx of Karl Anthony Towns playing as the number 2 player, playing without fear, playing better from 3, and also driving better and scoring better, going to the basket, better than he ever has. But again, there's going to be a difference doing that against a team that doesn't play defense, like Phoenix. Phoenix will give you the open 3, and then when you drive, they'll give you the open layup or dunk. Denver's not going to do that. It's going to be a little tougher. You might see the old Karl Anthony Towns return. And it should be a great series. But it's going to take a Herculean effort to defeat the Denver Nuggets. Ultimately, I see Denver coming out of it, but it's a real exciting one, and we're looking forward to talking about it as we get a little bit closer to it. Of course, we just got to finish up the games that we already spoke about. Hopefully, the Pacers will beat the Bucks tonight. That's what I see happening. The Knicks will beat the Sixers tonight. That's what I see happening. And then it'll just be about the Mavericks cleaning up against the Clippers. And we'll see if the Orlando Magic, behind the incredible play of Paolo Banchero, can push it to a Game 7. Or if Cleveland, behind Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, the better team, the more experienced team, can get it done. If Cleveland can't get it done, it'll be very, very, very disappointing for them and their fan base. If the Magic can get it done, it'll be very exciting for them. Orlando's not expected to win anything. They weren't expected to be here. They weren't expected to make the playoffs when they went down 0-2. They weren't expected to win the next two and come back. And they're not expected to win Game 6 in Cleveland. But if they do, they're playing with house money. As always, you can follow us on social at NBAV. That's NBA Avenue. The website is up. That's NBAVE.com. Just 5 letters, NBAVE. You can email the show at NBAvenue@yahoo.com. That's NBAvenue@yahoo.com with your questions and comments. As always, we're your source for a great time every time. And until next time, we are out.